What is up, guys? It is TheCitrusPanda here today, and today I'm coming at you with a review for episode 6 of season 2 of Haiykuu. Let's do this. Alright, so in this episode, we get a little bit of character development, and a lot of character progression, or maybe we can just, maybe just lump that into character development, but everybody in general is trying to get better on the team, which is interesting, because even the people that we don't really see very often. Like, we just kind of like see everyone every now and then, or especially in the first season. Now we're seeing them a lot more. So maybe they actually had a reason to be there in the first season, because in the first season it mostly focused on like a few core characters, but now it's branching off and even focusing on characters that we haven't really seen much of yet. So the episode starts off where I was actually right on this prediction. I figured it would happen, and it was pretty much confirmed at the preview of the last episode, like on the preview, 30-second preview at the end of each episode. Old Ukai, or whatever his name is, like the older coach, not like the new Ukai, is actually. I thought maybe he was gonna come to Karasuno and coach them, but apparently he has like his own like little I don't know what's going on. It's like a little volleyball school kind of thing. You just kind of go there and practice volleyball or whatever. I don't know. It looks like there's mostly like elementary school people there and like some middle schoolers or whatever. But he is not really like a coach like he used to be. He just kind of like teaches people. I guess he's sort of like a coach. But Hinata goes there and he learns a lot about how to actually be better at volleyball in general. And he learns that there's this thing called tempo, and we'll get into that more later. But basically, the idea that Kageyama's not really the one that has control over the serve. It's more of Hinata's control over it, which is interesting because before we were just Kageyama was like, okay, you got to close your eyes, you just let me aim, and you hit, and you're good. You don't even need to look at the ball. But now we're getting some character development for everybody because even Kageyama is now realizing that something has to be switched up here. So randomly, I guess, Kageyama's walking around. He's just like walking everywhere, and I don't know why. I don't know why he was there, but Oikawa, who apparently had his day off and was watching his nephew, whatever, he actually met him. Which Oikawa is the main not the coach, but the main captain for Obajiosai or whatever. So he's walking around because apparently on their team they have Mondays like off or whatever. So he's walking around, and then he talks a little bit to Kageyama. There's some like jokes like flying back and forth or whatever. But anyway, he basically tells him that you have to realize that that the actual responsibility of like the serve that they do, like the quick attack thing, is actually not all in the hands of Kageyama. It's mostly in the hands of Hinata. So he needs to realize that, or else he's going back to being the tyrant king or whatever. Like the idea that he needed to do everything on the team, which he was like in junior high or whatever. So that was interesting because we got to see Oikawa again, and I assume we're going to see more of him once they actually get to the spring tournament thing. So all that happens, and whenever young Ukai goes. Once he kind of figures out that there's like different tempos about how Hinata has to actually hit the ball at certain places, then Ukai, the young Ukai, goes back and he finds Kageyama, and then he actually converses with him for a little bit and kind of tells him what he needs to do and what he needs to practice. And meanwhile, Hinata keeps going to this place with old Ukai, and he just keeps like practicing his serves, but with a bunch of different people, so that he can basically not only get the serves from just Kageyama, but serves from just like a bunch of random people that switch up their serves all the time. So he's trying to be more diverse. So basically, Hinata was able to hit Kageyama's serve without really looking, and just because it was the same serve every single time, it was just the same person with the really good setting skills that Kageyama just naturally has and has gotten over the years he's played. But with a bunch of people who are much younger, some people who look a little bit older, so I don't know if they're like elementary school and middle school and some high school, whatever, they just keep serving to them. Even some adults, where like one or two like adults were serving to. So like a bunch of different people from all different age groups and serve different ways and just have different habits in their serves, and they're not always the same. Like Kageyama can do like the same serves over and over again, whereas these people, they aren't experienced in that, so they're a little bit slower on the the uptake of like being consistent. So this is good for Hinata because he learns to basically hit every single one of them. So for a whole week, this happens throughout the entire week, and Kageyama learns from young Ukai that he needs to switch up his game, so to speak. So basically, what the idea is that Kageyama's throwing the ball to Hinata, but he's throwing it like past Hinata. Like, here's where Hinata's going to hit it, but he's actually throwing it way over there. So what Kageyama needs to do is have the ball stop here instead of keep going. So he wants it to be dead on, like dead accurate, and like once it reaches the peak right here, it's going to fall soon after. So if Hinata doesn't hit it there, it's just going to fall. That's the idea of what he's going to do. So Kageyama's practicing this a lot. He's doing a lot with practice. So I think one of the most intriguing parts about this episode, though, is it's not only Kageyama and Hinata trying to practice, it's also a lot of people in general, and we'll get around to that. So Asahi is trying to practice his jump serves. Prior to this episode, really only Kageyama was capable of actually doing a jump serve, so they're kind of narrowed in to like being like, oh, if we want to do that, we have to use this guy, but if you have two people and maybe his jump service can be really good, then that's something really awesome. So he's practicing in the gym, and then Nishinoya actually comes in and he's like, yo, I'm gonna do like the rolling thunder thing, and he goes and he hits the ball back to Asahi or whatever, he receives it, but then he's like, hey, can I practice some of my tosses to you? So what Nishinoya wants to do is start tossing. Now, he is the libero, or whatever you want to call them. So, the person that basically is at the back, like, being like a guard, like a guardian of, like, the back, so that he can always receive, like, these, like, passes that most people wouldn't be able to receive, and to set up, his teammates for getting things. But he wants to be able to toss, too. So, Kageyama can toss, I do assume, because he's the setter, so he can toss to people. But he actually saw somebody else. I don't know who it was, but I forget who they mentioned. But it was a guy on another team. It might have been Oba Josai, but it might have been another team. And he saw someone else do that. The libero on that team actually did the toss. So I guess he was kind of inspired by that, and he's going to start doing that now. So now they've got multiple people who want to improve, but it doesn't end there. It's even got people such as Yamaguchi, who you don't really hear anything about. Most people in the first season, that you really didn't see much about, you never assumed that they would be much, or they would never really try to get better. But Yamaguchi actually, he's walking with Tsukishima, and he's just like, hey man, I'm gonna go this way. I'm going to practice. I forget what he said he was gonna practice, but he just went to go practice with Shimida-san. And Shimida-san, I thought it was somebody else, but it was actually one of the people, I think, from the neighborhood association that came in the first season to help Karasuno like practice. So that was pretty cool. I think he's a former Karasuno player, but I'm not 100% sure. So he goes, and Tsukishima doesn't go with him or anything. He just kind of puts his headphones on, walks away, which almost leaves the viewers with the impression that maybe he doesn't really care about improving. But I think they're like trying to lead you in that direction. I think that he just didn't feel like practicing at that point or whatever. But I think that I think Tsukishima wants to improve just like everybody else. But who knows? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's gonna maybe not be. He's not active in wanting to improve. But I don't think that's the case. I think they're just trying to kind of like start some fires or whatever. People going to be like, oh man, he's not going to try his best or whatever. But I think he will. And overall, this was just an episode where a lot of people were stepping up to the plate and really saying, I'm going to start doing this so that my team will do better. And Kageyama also, whenever he was practicing, I want to note this. Like in the middle of each episode, how like have that like short little like after the commercial break would have been, but I watch on Crunchyroll, so it's not there. Like the little, it's always like somebody hitting a ball and trying to hit a water bottle, and they might miss or hit. Well, Kageyama was actually practicing with water bottles, so I thought that was kind of funny. But at the end of the day, I was rating my prediction of Coach Ukai right whenever he said, whenever young Ukai last episode said something about family visiting. And it was pretty much confirmed in the end of in the preview. But anyway, I was right, because I'm just the best. But anyway, next episode should be really. I'm hyped for the next episode because it's one day until they go back to Tokyo after a week of everybody trying to practice and improve on different things. And I think overall it'll be really interesting to see how it turns out. I think that they're going to maybe sweep the practice, but I don't think so. I think they're going to do really good and beat a lot of teams. But I don't know how it's going to turn out exactly. But until next time, guys. I'll see you guys later. Looking forward to next episode.